What's Canada's best kept secret? Well, it's definitely not bacon. It's also not the world's first official UFO landing pad, which opened in 1967. But what if I told you it might actually be something almost nobody's talking about? Something that claims it can influence your energy, your sleep, your relationships, and even your level of consciousness. Sounds pretty crazy, right? And that's exactly why I looked into it. To find out what Canada's best kept secret really is, we have to go back to 2007 when a Canadian coach called Clayton Stegman had been diagnosed with a life-threatening disease. Because of his family's health history, Clayton was deeply motivated to find a non-conventional way to heal. His search led him to an inventor who had built an unusual energy setup in his home while trying to create a free energy device. According to Clayton, the inventor didn't succeed at free energy, but he may have stumbled onto something else entirely. A way to focus life force energy. Clayton felt like he was onto something big and began to dive deep into this mysterious technology. He decided to partner with American entrepreneur and businessman Jeff Stegman, who had his own unbelievable experience with the technology. When he walked into the inventor's house, where the tech was stored, he felt an immediate, intense energetic effect, tingling, goosebumps, and a kind of elevated state. Clayton and Jeff refined the technology, and Clayton says that his life was saved by it. As astonishing as this is, the duo began to realize this might not just be about healing. It might be about influencing consciousness itself. Now I know what you're thinking. What does any of this have to do with Canada's best kept secrets? Well, stay with me, folks. Jeff and Clayton felt they had stumbled onto something revolutionary, something that could potentially impact millions of people. So they created a company called FLFE, Focused Life Force Energy. And when it came time to choose a headquarters, Clayton did something unusual. Using his background in consciousness research and applied kinesiology, he tested for the place with the highest level of consciousness in all of Canada. What he found was a small town called Nelson in British Columbia. Population about 13,000. And according to his findings, it had the highest level of consciousness in the entire country. So that's where FLFE was born. But now let's get to the real question. What exactly is FLFE and how does it work? Jeff and Clayton became very certain that the environment you live in is not neutral. It's either working for you or against you. In simple terms, if your home has low vibes, you'll probably have low vibes too. But if the environment itself can be elevated, your experience inside it changes. Your thinking changes, your emotions change, your behavior changes. So how do they say FLFE works? They say their system contains what they call a high consciousness field, based on principles inspired by Nikola Tesla. And when someone signs up, they link that field to a person, a phone, or property. They do this using a unique identifier like a home address, coordinates, a phone number, or even a photo. They call this process quantum association. Now, even if that term sounds unfamiliar, the idea might not be. You think of someone and suddenly they call you. Or you've heard of remote healing, where someone works with you energetically from a distance. In simple terms, they're saying connection doesn't necessarily depend on distance. So if consciousness can connect across space through intention, prayer, or awareness, then a high consciousness field might be able to as well. But here's where it goes further. FLFE, they say, doesn't just connect the field. They actually prepare the field. They load it with intentional information. Things like positive intentions, prayers, and what they describe as optimal conditions for human life. These intentions are drawn from sacred texts, spiritual traditions, and consciousness research, and they say they've spent thousands of hours testing these inputs to ensure they align with what they consider the highest good. In their words, FLFE isn't just a frequency, It's an intentional prayer-infused field. One of the best ways they describe it is this. Imagine having a group of monks in your home in deep prayer and meditation 24/7. That's the kind of environment they're aiming to create. So once a space is linked, they say the field surrounds the home and even creates a mobile field around your phone. So what does that actually do? According to Jeff and Clayton, when the environment is elevated, people often experience more ease, less internal resistance, more clarity, better sleep, improved relationships, and a more positive state overall. They also say it helps reduce the impact of EMFs from things like routers, towers, and wireless devices. But one of the most important claims is this. It helps weaken old patterns stored in a space. Because according to Jeff and Clayton, environments can hold stress, conflict, habit loops, and emotional residue. And when that environment shifts, those patterns become easier to break. Sounds pretty great, right? But now here's the real question. Does any of this actually work? And can you prove it? Because if someone tells you they can remotely improve the energetic quality of your home, your first question should be, okay, can you prove it? And that's where Dr. Gary Schwartz comes in. He's a psychologist and researcher from the University of Arizona. And he didn't come in as a believer. He came in asking one question. Is something actually happening here? So they started by looking at user reports. People were consistently reporting better sleep, less stress, more peace, more energy, and easier shifts into positive thinking. But that alone isn't enough, because expectation can create those results. So the real question became, is this just placebo? In a study of 338 people, participants were asked, did the effects match your expectations? The options were less than expected, about what I expected, or more than expected. And here's what stood out. About 2/3 said the effects were greater than expected. This suggests something beyond simple expectation. Now that alone doesn't prove anything, but it's a meaningful signal. But what really got the researchers' attention was not people, it was plants. Because plants don't believe in anything. They don't expect results. They don't know what group they're in, and they definitely can't produce placebo effects. So they ran controlled plant studies. Blind setups, no bias, no awareness, and the results showed 167% stronger root growth, 45% higher germination rate, and 43% longer leaves compared to plants not in the field. Which is kind of hard to ignore. Plants seem to respond to it. And according to users, so do people. People report less anxiety, better sleep, more energy, better relationships, and an overall increase in quality of life. And after experiencing and studying FLFE for the last few years here at Inspired, we believe it's not just Canada's best kept secret, it may be one of the most important services in the world today. So if you want to experience FLFE for yourself, they offer a free 15-day trial. No credit card, no commitment, just a chance to see what it's like. You can start your free trial by clicking the link below or by visiting highconsciousnessfield.com.